Yes.
So a very quick video on like how I would learn the astrology if I was starting from the very beginning and if I don't know anything. Now the problem being that there are so many YouTube videos and so many guides and so much nonsense that is out there that once you watch any of this content, basically you will have certain wrong ideas in your mind, and because of them, you will not be able to predict a lot of things. Because these people they themselves don't know what they are saying most of the time. So if you had to start, the way it is supposed to be done is that what I would do is first and foremost, obviously I will open my own chart, and at the same time I will start learning one by one. So where do we start? We start from the 12 Rashi and the Kalpurusha. So there are many people who would go so deep in astrology, and then I ask them like, do you know what the Kalpurusha and whatnot? And they are like, what is this? I have no idea. So you need to know what the Kalpurusha is, what the 12 Rashi are, where are they mapped in the cosmic Kalpurusha, and then you have to kind of understand what are the characteristics of each of the Rashi. Okay. After that, you have to kind of get the idea of why do we have 12 Rashi, why not 13 or why not 10? So that will be based on the sun and the moon and how many times they are coming across each other in one year. Then we have to go in the nakshatra, and you have to understand that the nakshatra are based on the moon. And based on the nakshatra tattvas that are based on the pada of the nakshatra, we have the tattva of each of the sign. Like some signs are fire signs, some sign of water signs, or where it is coming from. It is coming from the nakshatra. So you need to understand that to get the idea of where the signs are coming from and where the tattva of the signs are coming from. After you have covered this, you can go and learn like the who is the lord of the signs and the planets. And you have to understand which planets are Ucha, Nicha, Mul, Trikona, and the Swakshetra. Now, this is very important thing because people, they do know the exaltation of the signs and the derivation of signs, but many people, they don't know what the Mul, Trikona or what the Swakshetra. So now, if you don't know this, you will not be able to predict anything because this is very important in the next thing that comes, which is the Naisargik Sambandha. But any confusion in this phase one, I would say. Assuming not, then we'll just move forward. Um, Next page
But
is,
I have,
yeah,
uh,
yep,
so sorry to cut you. I have one
yep.
question. Where to get this content from? Like, for example, you are asking us to start from, say, Kalpurusha. As a beginner, even I am not aware about it. So, where to pick up the content from, where to read, or where should the starting point be?
So I'm pretty sure you will be able to find the Kalpurusha anywhere on the internet. It is very famous thing. So I'm just kind of
Mm-hmm.
trying to give you the topics. Obviously, the research you will have to do because all of this is not like unfortunately given in one book. And I'm yet to write any
That's
book. So kind of you'll have to Google the topics and find it. I can recommend some sources at the end of the video. Like these are the 10, 15 books that I would read. And they basically cover most of the things. But again, many of them, they are not covered. So you will kind of have to find it like why are the nakshatra tattvas coming into the science and whatnot. But they are not like even in any specific like I can guide you where, okay, go to this website and you will find everything, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I would like to add one thing here. I think learning in person or from a mentor or a guru is really good than rather going nuts for YouTube or books and all for any beginner.
Yeah, get the idea. But again, the problem is like not everyone has the opportunity to learn in
Yeah,
person.
that's what
And
I'm just
yeah,
recommending that for Prachi.
yeah,
yes.
if it's possible for
Hmm.
her, then yes.
Hmm.
But in general,
Obvio.
just have to
Yeah.
do this. What else can you do, unfortunately? So this is
Yeah,
kind of the
yeah.
self-study guide where if you once you know, okay, once I know this topic, I will go to next and next and next. But the searching you will have to do, unfortunately. I can guide some materials at the end of the video. So obviously, these are not some names which you will not find. You will find them easily. It is just where you have to understand the logic behind them. Other being the best material, obviously, we have the BPHS. So that is the first thing that you should kind of get a translation of. But again, it is a very hard to understand book, especially if you're a beginner. So I would not recommend that you directly start with the translation or the Sanskrit slokas from the BPHS or anything like that, but rather just search yourself and make your own notes with each of these things as you go forward. So once you know the Ucha, Nicha, Mul, Trikona, and Swakshetra, now you learn about the nine graha and their nature. Okay. And the after you know the nine graha, you should know that okay, they are the lord of certain signs. And once you know, okay, the particular graha has this particular Mul Trikona sign, I can know about the Naisargik Sambandha. The Naisargik Sambandha means the natural relationship between the planets. We have a direct table which is given that okay, this planet is neutral or this planet is friend or this planet is enemy with this planet. But where is that table coming from? It is coming from the Naisargik Sambandha. Basically, you put the Mool Trikon sign of the planet as your Lagna, and then you see the each of the signs And then you get the idea of which are the friends of which planet and which are the enemies of which planet. So once you know this, you will have the idea. For example, if the sun is going in the Capricorn or sun is going in the Aquarius because it is in its enemy sign, does it like it? Does it not like it? And similarly, whether the sun is going in Gemini, it likes the Gemini. But if the sun is going in Virgo, it might not like the Virgo. So what is the logic behind it? So if you understand it, if you understand the Mool Trikona sign, and you will have to, what you have to do is, you'll have to make the Mool Trikona ascendant of each of the planets one by one. And from that, you have to see the houses. So all of the Upachaya houses, they become bad for you. The rest of the houses are good for you. So once you apply this logic, you'll be able to understand why are the planets good in certain signs and why are the planets bad in certain signs. And you will be able to get an idea of each and every planet and each and every particular sign so that you can do the judgment. After that, we have to Tatkalik Sambandha, which is a temporary friendship, which is based on very fixed rules that a certain planet is placed certain houses from each other, it will become a friend or enemy. So when you mix both of the Tatkalik and the Naisargik Sambandha, you get something which is known as the Panchata Sambandha, the fivefold friendship. For everyone, this will be different, but once you get this idea, you will exactly know how bad or how good the planet is for you. After that, what I would recommend the person is that obviously now is the time to learn the 12 bhavas. So now this is a problematic thing because there is not much content in here, unfortunately. But do what you can, make your notes and whatnot, and learn about the 12 of the signs. I will give some very good books for the same at the end of the video, but you have to learn the 12 bhavas in the depth. Another thing that people should remember is you have to remember the tattva of the bhavas. For example, Aries is a fire sign, so is the Leo, and so is the Sagittarius. So each of these signs will have a similar thing. So if the sun is in Aries or sun is in Leo or sun is in Sagittarius, I would really like this sign because they are 159 from each other. And so on and so forth. Like, for example, the Mool Trikona is in the Taurus. Moon likes the Taurus sign. So what happens here? Uh, the moon will be very good in the Virgo. Moon will be very good in all of the earth signs because moon likes this signs, and so on and so forth. Now, people, what they do usually is they will learn the 12 bhavas, but they will not run the Digbala. Now, the problem with the Digbala is that if you don't know the Digbala, because not everyone will have the same ascendant. So you will should get a very general idea of the Digbala of which planet is strong in which direction. Once you know that, you will know, okay, maybe my Saturn is placed in the Libra in the 7th house, and maybe my Saturn is placed in the Libra in the 1st house. Which one is better for me? So you will get a general idea of the judgment of the planets. After that, it is not the time for prediction yet. You have to learn the Panchanga. This is very, very important thing where people don't know it. This is one of the most important things where your Janma Tithi decides a lot of things for you. And basically every Janma Tithi has particular dosha, and this dosha comes in certain signs. And then each of the Panchanga are related to one of the 5 tattva. And let's say, for example, the Vara or the weekday that you are born, it will have a lot. For example, every day has a particular planet which is lording it. For example, today, if today is Tuesday, then the Mars is the planet that is lording it. And if Mars is very badly placed in my chart and is afflicted, I will have health problems. So you don't even need to go to the chart to see that. Based on just the weekday, you can see a lot of things. Similarly, for the Karana, it is the Earth Tattva. So if you have to see someone wealth potential, first thing you should look is the Karana, not your second house or 11th house and other things. And obviously, the Janma Tithi means the most important thing. It has certain doshas, and all you need to know what are the dosha, how to rectify them. So, Panchang is like any good astrologer or any basic level astrologer should know how to use the Panchang. After you know the Panchanga, learn the Shadvala so you have a general idea of where the planet is strong or bad or so on. Learn the Ishtaphala, Kastaphala so you kind of get the idea of how bad the planet is, how good the planet is. Now, here is a controversial thing, but I would recommend people to learn the Jaimini karakas here, even though Jaimini is a very advanced level thing, but the karakas are not an advanced level thing. If you learn the Jaimini karakas, it will be very useful for you to predict a lot of things. Okay, you can use it along with the dasha of the normal Vimshottari dasha. You can use the karakas and it will be very good for you. After that, you should learn the Maran Karakstana of each of the planets. And lastly, very important thing is that you have to learn the Bhava Karaka of each of the 1 to 12 houses. Now you know all of this. Now you need to go back and go to learn the moon chart. So you should learn the moon chart. Moon chart makes certain Anapasunap and Durada yogas. Once you know them, there is a particular technique which we use for the career progression using the moon chart, basically 10 from your moon. So once you learn that, and once you learn the basic of Ashtavarga, you will be very good at predicting at exactly what age the person will get a promotion or people will get a career change. After that, you learn the Navatara. After learning the Navatara, you can learn the Vimshottari Dasha. At this point, you will be able to predict a lot of things if you have very good understanding of the topics I have covered so far. If not, then you will be in trouble because you don't know half the concepts and you are trying to predict things. So a lot of this thing, because again, we are not like K. N. Rao or B. V. Raman. What we can do is we can understand different techniques in certain depth so that we can apply them together and get a certain level of prediction. But if you are not able to apply two or three different techniques to see the same thing, now you will have a trouble because you are relying on only one thing to make the prediction for you. And if that one thing is wrong, your prediction will be wrong. So what we want to do is we want to understand from the moon chart. Second thing is you understand the Gemini karakas, and third thing is you understand the normal uh, graha in the different signs. So now you have three or four different metrics as well as you have the Ashtak Varga. So now you have three or four metrics, and if three or four metrics are pointing in a very similar direction, now you have a higher confidence of the prediction. But if you're only using, oh, because the Saturn is in my Aries, it is so bad or something like that, it is not going to work out for you. So if you know four or five different methods, you can use them together and then you will be able to get a prediction. At this point, obviously, each of this single thing, how do you learn them is that you don't go to charts. What you do is, let's say, 1 to 12 hours. Find the chart with such a Lagna Lord in first house, Lagna Lord in second house, third house. Find 10 or 20 of similar charts and practice on them and see how the life is turning out. That is how you will learn. But if you are trying to learn everything and then you are going to try to do the prediction of one particular thing, you will not be able to do. What you should do instead is try to learn one topic and then just apply that only particular topic in each of the single charts that you are able to find. After that, you'll be able to be very good at prediction. But if you learn everything and then you are trying to kind of join everything at the same time, it will not be very easy job for you. Any questions so far?
Look, it looks like a
Yeah.
very good blueprint to start off with, at least to understand the basics as
Yes.
to what to start off and where to. Like, for example, personally, half of the things I was also not aware of. So this
Yeah.
acts like a guide, starting guide, where if somebody is interested into astrology, they should start off
Yes.
with this.
Yeah, and these are like very basic thing, extremely basic. Anyone should know them. But if you even know, like, like if you know just up to, I would say, Panchanga up to like, even you don't know Marankarak, maybe you just know that phase four, you'll be able to do very fantastic prediction. By this time,
Hmm.
let's say you are to able to understand the whole moon thing, by this time, you will have very high prediction accuracy and you'll be able to predict very good things. Okay, now you go more advanced. Now you go open your D9. Right now, we are not even going to D9. Assuming I forgot to mention to learn the Bhuvat Bhavam, but once you learn the 12 Bhavas, I'm assuming that you will include that in it. Now you need
Yeah.
to go in D9. You don't go to D9 till you have kind of understood all of this. And I tried to make it in a concise manner where one topic will be radically after the other one so that it will directly help you with the previous topic. But if you directly jump, oh, this is the sign and this is exaltation, calibration, but you are not understanding what is the tattva of the sign, you will not be able to make good prediction. And you also have to understand the tattva of each of the planets because some planets they are fire tattva, some are water tattva. So when a fire planet is going in the water sign, obviously it will not perform very well. So you get the general idea in your mind. So now you go to D9. Now comes the Gemini stuff where learn the D9. Obviously, D9 will show you a lot of things. And you can predict your marriage, you can predict your bhagya and all. But one of the very interesting thing about D9 is that you can predict your whole career through D9. You don't need to go to D10. D9, there is a particular thing which is known as Karakamsha. It is given in the Gemini Sutras. So now is the time to learn the Karakamsha. And now is the time to learn the Naisargic age of each of the planets. Each of the planet will mature at a very particular age. And they will activate in your D9 at a particular age. So when you learn this age, you can go back to your moon chart and you can again increase the prediction of the career progression that you are doing through the moon chart. Now, after that, using the D9, you can know your Ishta Devata, you can know your Pratyadi Devata, and you can know your Palan Devata. So, based on these three deities, you will know, okay, if I'm having a work related issue, what deity should I worship? If I'm going into spirituality, what things should I worship? And if I'm not able to sustain myself, what things should I worship? And we're able to guide people, okay, do this worship for this particular problem. Now that you have this, you will still be not able to predict in that level. Now we can go into the D10 and career. There is something which is known as the Dig Chakra. If you know the Dig Chakra, you can go back to your Marankarakasthana, which is here earlier, and you will be able to apply the Marankarakasthana in a much better position because now you know the direction. The Dick chakra is basically where you get the direction of each of the direction in your chart, and each of the direction is ruled by a particular deity. And this deity will also help you to remove the Marankarakasthana planet if you have any in your chart by worshipping that particular deity. So the Marankarakshana can be done by Dig, and then you have to 10 Mahavidyas with associated with 10 direction in the D10. So if you know this, then you will be able to predict. If you don't know that, you won't be able to. Another thing which people don't know is this: there is a particular thing which is known as the Amsha deities in the D10, as well as the D9 and D20 and a lot of things. But the Amsha deity, you should start looking at them when you are going into the D10. Amsha deity will tell you a lot of things from the nature itself. What the Amsha deity is basically the planets are at certain degrees in your chart. And each of the degree is ruled by a particular deity. And each of the chart has that deity different ones. So whatever the deity characteristics are, they will come in your life depending on where they are. After you are learning the D10, now is the time to learn the Jaimini Sutras, where you are learning the Arud Lagna, Upapada Lagna, and you should run the Arud Pada of each and every houses. And now finally you can go learn the Narayan Dasha, so you can use it along with the Vimshuttari Dasha and along with your moon chart and 10 other things, and now you can be extremely good at the prediction. So now you know all this, now is the time to go in the deeper vargas. Now, if you want to go into the more deeper things like the karmic nature or what kind of karmas you are carrying and what kind of the karmic things you will face from the past life and whatnot, now is the time to go in the D20. D20 is a spiritual chart, but D20 is very interesting because it has a particular Mahavidyas and a lot of other deities. Now, the fun fact which people don't know is that if you know about the deities, you can apply those deities in your D1 chart. For example, if you remember, there is a particular story about the Sati. Sati is basically the daughter of the Daksha, and she kind of fall into that yajna because of her father, and the Shiva had the whole problem and whatnot. And then she is dying, and Shiva is very angry. So, for example, if someone's seventh house is having a Rahu or something, all right, and that seventh house Rahu is sitting in the Sati Amsha in D20, you can say that that person will have a karmic tendency where they will jump in the fire for their spouse. Maybe they have a similarly different deity. The deity will have direct impact on the particular thing. So understanding the deities is very important to make the prediction about the life of the particular individual. For example, let's say maybe the Saturn is very badly placed for you in the D1. And in the D20, the Saturn is falling under a very good amsha. Maybe the Saturn is falling into the Devi, which is known as Daya. Now, Daya means that there is certain form of the benevolence that is on you. So even though it is very bad in D1, in the D20, you are seeing that the deity that is controlling your Saturn, it is very auspicious for you. So you will notice even in the Saturn time or the Dasha that is going on, you will have certain grace from the universe which will save you somehow. And similarly, even if your planet is exalted, maybe, all right, but it is falling into very bad amsha in the D20, maybe let's say your Mars is exalted or something, all right? And Mars is falling in the Pisachini amsha in the D20. What does Pisach mean? Pisach means someone who is draining your energy. So whenever the Mars Dasha comes, even though it's an exalted planet in your D1 chart, you will notice that you will have a drain of your energy. You will notice that you will have people around you who are draining your energy. There can be some drain that can be going on in your body. Maybe the Mars is sitting in a sixth house or something. There can be some health issue that can come up. So all of the deity can be directly applicable to each and every single charts. But for them, you will have to open the tantras and whatnot. You will have to open the Puranas and understand what this deity means, what the life story is. But because on the base of the name also, you can figure out certain tendencies of the deity and you can apply them in your D1 and D9 chart. After that, you can go to D24 to kind of get a very good idea of how many bachelor degree or master degrees you will have, whether you will have a career issue or whatnot. But you need to understand that each and every of this chart will have exact same application. If you know the Marankarakshana, you can apply the Marankarakshana in D20, you can apply in D24, you can apply in any divisional chart, it is still applicable. The rules are same, but that particular area of your life will suffer in that particular chart. So if you know the basics, you will know how to look at it. But if you don't know what is the Naisargik Sambandha between the, for example, Saturn and Venus, they are enemies of each other. You don't know that. Even if you're looking at D20, you will not be able to figure that out. So that's why the basics are very important here. And then you can go in D30, D60, even the D60 is the Amsha deities and whatnot. So you can even look at them if you want to. I don't use them that much because people time is not accurate. But this is of the very later part. Again, this is only if you want to go more into the karmic tendencies and whatnot. You can understand the same thing from understanding your Atma Karak and whatnot from the Jaimini system. But if you want to go deeper, you can go in D20 and whatnot for the spirituality. Now the problem is, okay, now you can do the prediction. Now you know everything. But what's the point of prediction if you cannot help anyone? So now comes the part where you have to understand what are the nyasa, what are the mantras, what are the shanti mantra, what are the remedies for each of the planet, and how do you recommend gemstone to the people. So people don't know shit about gemstone. They're recommending the Marak gemstone to people. The people are getting in problem and whatnot. I had to make another video on the same. But basically now is the time where you use a different divisional charts. So for the gemstones, we use a D1 and then we use a D3 because D3 is something we use for our body. And D3 is certain variation like Jagannath D3, Somnath D3. And you use that to kind of get the idea of what gemstone will work on which person. Now the remedy part comes, but if you are not able to understand which planet is giving me the issue and now you're trying to empower the wrong planet, it can get you in a very bad circumstances. And now obviously you read the all other planets like the Panchanga, maybe your tithi is Krishna Chaturdashi. Many people are born on that, they don't even know because no astrologer will tell them. Krishna Chaturdashi is one of the worst tithi to be born on. And that tithi has so many doshas. So unless and until you worship Lord Shiva, no matter what remedy you do, it will not help your life. So certain tithi, for example, you are born on this Saptami. The Saptami is the tithi, the favorite tithi of the Lord Surya. So tithi is like the relationship that we are having with the other people in the world. So once you worship the Surya, your tithi dosh will be gone and a lot of good things will start happening in your life. Because the tithi Lord is very important because you are born in that particular tithi, you can say that my relationship are in the hand of Surya. Or depending on what tithi you are born, there are different tithis and different deities which are ruling the tithi. So first and foremost, worship should be done of the tithi deity before you can do anything else. Because if the tithi deity is not helping you, no matter what you are doing, it will not work out very well for you. Now we have the same thing where you know all of this, you know all, but again, you should not wait till everything is done to jump into the prediction. Start learning the signs and start looking at 10-15 charts just for each of the sign and what kind of the nature they are having. Because if you wait till going till moon or something and you are not looking at any chart, you will not be able to predict anything because this each and every topic should be practiced with like individual 20, 30, 40 charts. Just like, for example, if you want to see the exaltation, just see the exaltation in 20 different charts, get the idea. See the derivation in 20 different charts, get the idea. If you wait till going forward and you don't do the practice here, you will not be able to predict because too many things will line up for you. So this is a very basic idea. And obviously, you want to get to a point where you don't need to go to someone else to learn everything. You should be able to predict as good as the person who is trying to teach you. So any other doubts here?
No doubts.
I think this was a lot of many different topics in here. So there's
Yes,
obviously certain confusion and all, but yes.
but quite informative on the sense that where to start from, what should we
Yes.
study, because when you start with astrology, most of it is scattered. When you pick up one book,
Yes.
you don't know what content is going to help you and what content is not going to help
Yes.
you.
Yes.
So this actually acts like a very good blueprint for anybody who wants to start off with astrology journey.
Yes. So now we are going to the books. So first and foremost, I will recommend the How to Judge a Horoscope Volume 1 and 2 by B.V. Raman. It is fantastic book and it has a lot of examples specifically for the people who are dying because you'll be able to predict which dasha are bad, which are the actual mark. Now you know what are the marks and you will hopefully have the brain that you don't recommend people the mark gemstone. So there is a whole chapters on that where he's giving so many examples of the charts where people are dying because of certain combination or they are dying in the dasha, in the mark dasha. So once you know those two particular books through the mind, you'll be able to understand, okay, this is a bad period where the health issue can come out. After that, I would recommend the Crux of the Vedic Astrology by Sanjay Rath. Very fantastic book if you want to learn to read 1 to 12 bhavas in detail. That book has so many examples and goes in such detail about what you can see with each and every bhava. So if the bhava lord is in this particular house, in that particular house, what are the results? What other things can you see from each of the houses? After that, if you want to learn about the tithi and the nakshatra, I would recommend the Science of Light by Freedom Cole. It's a little bit expensive book. I think it's 4 or 5 thousand, but you will find it, I think, very cheap on Kindle. It is there on Amazon and very fantastic book. You can go through it. It has a lot of information on a lot of the nakshatra and whatnot. After that point, you can go to the book of the Visti Larsen. The book is called, I think, Jyotish Fundamentals. where he goes in much more detail about the Panchanga and what to worship and what not. And he goes much more in detail about each of the bhavas. And obviously, there are certain things which are not mentioned here, like the Argala and couple of other things, but they are too advanced for the beginners, hence I have not mentioned them. But that book goes in very well depth, and it is a very good starting point after you have covered the earlier books. Now you have covered that particular book, you can go to the Jaimini Sutras. The Jaimini Sutras, I would recommend the translation by Sanjay Rath, or you can go with the translation of B.B. Raman. Both of them are very good, and you can go with either of them to understand the Jaimini system. Once you understand the Gemini system, there are certain special ascendants. Like there is a Gati Lagna, Hora Lagna, Bhava Lagna, Pranapada Lagna, this Lagna, that Lagna. So all of them have the application based on the Gemini Sutras. So that book has fantastic examples to learn the Gemini Sutras. After you learn the Gemini Sutras, you have to go in the Tantras or you have to go in the Puranas and all. Without that, you cannot learn the remedy of the planets and what to do and what not to do. Another thing which is very good is the Varnada Lagna, which is also at the end of the Jaimini Sutras. It is given. It is basically based on the colors of your life and what kind of colors to wear, what kind of colors are good for you, what kind of the colors should you use when you are using the professional documentation. For example, I have a certain Varnada Lagna. So each and every document that I will make will have a very specific color because I know that color is good for me. And so on and so forth. So there are a lot of other applications. And at the same time, on this side, one should learn a very basic level of the Prashna because you should know what kind of people are coming to you and whether you should take the reading of those people or not, whether you should be engaging with those people or not, because we don't want to take a client who is going to give us a lot of headache or a person who is having a very bad karma because if you tell them certain things, they can misuse those things. Then you should read the Skanda Puran and couple other Purans, Shiva Puran and whatnot, to get the idea of the Rudraksha, because Rudraksha are very useful in doing the remedies of the planets and whatnot. And obviously, all of this on the side, the very more important thing is that one should do some form of daily sadhana, because if you are doing the sadhana, then the karmic tendencies won't impact you that much, and you will have a better outcome when you are predicting for people. Because let's say maybe you are running a very bad dasha, now, due to that dasha, your prediction are not coming out good, even if you know everything. So that's why doing the sadhana is very important. And because you are checking other people's chart, you are recommending them this and that, you are also taking on the karma of a lot of people, whether good or bad. So we generally don't want to take the bad karma, but let's say by mistake you are taking the bad karma. So doing the sadhana is very good. And because the Sun is the natural fifth house, the Leo. Hence, the Surya sadhana is very recommended for all of the astrologers if you want to become very proficient at seeing the future. Why? Because fifth house is the ninth from your ninth house. So basically, the future, if you want to predict, do the Surya sadhana first and foremost as any astrologer. Other thing that you can consider is doing the Ganesh sadhana because this is a very basic level sadhana which will help remove certain dosha from your chart and whatnot. And after that, you can go to your Karakamsha or D9 or whatever you want, depending on what you want to learn and which deity you want to please to get certain things in your life. So this is kind of the whole blueprint. But I'm sure if someone finishes like up to this point, I don't think they will not be able to predict most of the things. So yeah. Anything you would like to add, Kunal?
Yeah, I mean, I agree to, everything you have just said. And yeah, sadhana is very important. बिना साधना के आई डोंट थिंक किसी भी तरीके से इंसान कोई भी चीज़ प्रेडिक्ट कर सकता है बिकॉज इंट्यूशन मैटर्स द मोस्ट and only guesswork doesn't works here. You need to have certain combination in your chart as well, like connection between Jupiter and Ketu and so on to actually have certain kind of connection between the deity and to know about the future or the past or present about an individual. That needs very much. And if you do not have that, then I don't think anybody, even after having all kind of technical and practical knowledge, will be able to predict. So yeah, I agree to you.
And other thing, like there's so much nonsense going on between people that, oh, you're using D9, D9 is useless, or that is useless, this is useless. For me, what I believe is that in the end, what matters is your prediction. If you're getting right prediction, does not really matter what system are you using or what you're looking at. Yet people keep arguing, oh, I'm using Nadi, I'm using Gemini, I'm using Parashar, this is wrong, this is right. All of that does not really matter in the end, as long as you are able to predict for someone and you're able to do the remedy for someone. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and obviously I have not covered a lot of Nadi stuff and a lot of other schools of thought here, but this was just basic level stuff. So Yeah.
Yeah, even though this is a good amount of knowledge ke yahan tak hai, if somebody reaches, then she will be able to predict certain things. So yeah, it's also good.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay. Any question, Prachi?
Nothing from my end.
So we will stop the recording.